I first crossed the Sahara Desert as a teenager, hitching rides from truck drivers in return for digging those trucks out of sand. But now, half a century on, I've returned as GoldGoggles, but I've brought my son, Junior Goggles, with me. Now, what a lot of people don't realise is when they sit at home, oh, the Sahara's the other side of the world. Well, it's actually not as far as you would have thought. If you get on a plane, get off a plane, you're there in an instant. But we've decided to put it in perspective by travelling from London to the Sahara Desert overland. And that was a bit of a challenge in itself. Bright and early Saturday, and we're boarding the Eurostar to France, only to arrive to find the Paris metro shut down. It's a race against time to make our connection, but we've chosen the first weekend in August and everyone's leaving the city. For us, it's southwest to Toulouse, and a somewhat underwhelming cruise. The next train takes us into Spain. I want to see how they're getting on building the Sagrada Familia, the Holy Church, and the tallest church in the world. They've been at it for near on 150 years. And 50 years ago, I was told it would be finished in 10 years' time. They're still saying the same thing today. But it is an absolute masterpiece. From Barcelona to Madrid's stunning plazas, just time for tapas before moving on. Now in Spain's south, it's a severe heat warning, and that makes Seville feel like an oven. Even the boating lake's dried up. Oh, no, now the bus roof has melted too. We've seen scenery and culture gradually change, but just an hour across the water, and it's a totally different story. The hustle and bustle of the Medina, there's so much to take in. We need to keep our eyes peeled. You don't want to go tripping over a shark. Still shaking off the smell of fish, it's time for another train journey. We're delayed for a couple of hours, but nobody has a clue why. Once we get going, there's a shrieking alarm throughout the train. Makes everyone a little bit nervous. But we get off in one piece as our driver Abdul pulls up for the final leg of this journey. Now, two mountain ranges lie between us and the desert. The first, the lower Atlas, is green and lush. There are even winter ski slopes. But gradually things start to get sparser until there's just the occasional tree. And by the time we reach the upper Atlas, nothing. Just wilderness. But there, in the distance, we spot the sand dunes. It's the Sahara. So 10 days after leaving London, we're here in the Sahara Desert. It's the largest hot desert in the world. And we've come mid-August, at the height of summer. Pure madness. Out on the dunes there's a caravan of camels, but not just any camels, these are dromedary camels. They've each got just one hump. Packed with fat, it helps them deal with the scorching Sahara heat. But having once had a really bad allergic reaction in a camel market, I'd prefer to stick with Abdul's driving. He explains why some areas of the Sahara are sand rather than rock. It's actually because of water. Not far beneath us, according to Abdul, is underground water, and he reckons it acts like a magnet to the sand. But it doesn't take long to reach our campsite, and I guess this is what they call glamping. It's all very nice, but the cold shower I'd hoped for was too hot to even stand under. There's absolutely nowhere to escape the heat. Then, from nowhere, everything changes. It's a sandstorm. Junior makes a run for camp. Blown over twice, he comes back with mouth and ears and nose all full of sand. Now, a few hours later, normality returns, and night falls over our desert camp. When he's not being blown over by sandstorms, Junior is a really keen astronomer, so he spends the night under the stars. Morning breaks and it's the start of another hot one, but underground it's nice and cool. We're in an irrigation tunnel that was used to bring water from beneath the mountains to the villages. These molehills are made from the rocks that people have dug out by hand, and they stretch for miles. Now where there's water, there are camels. These are being farmed for milk and meat, but according to Abdul, camels have another use too: smuggling. With their terrific memories, they can be loaded with contraband, then they head off alone. Using their built-in sat-nav, they cross the closed Algerian border. The soldiers don't bother about them. After all, they're just camels. Donkeys and horses are used for much of the heavy work in Morocco, although this does seem just a little bit unfair on the horse. Patches of green are a clue that there's water, and these oasis towns are scattered across the Sahara. Above ground it's baking hot, but networks of sheltered passages bring some respite. And across North Africa, the indigenous people are Berbers. Abdul himself is a Berber. Berbers speak their own language, known as Tamazight. Now the Greeks thought that when Berbers speak Tamazight, it sounds like ba 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 ba, so that's how they got the name. Most of the region is dry, dusty, rocky outcrop, but the rock formations are often very impressive and sometimes totally spectacular. Hundreds have come here for the shade and to paddle in the fresh mountain water. Strange to think we're still in the desert. Driving across the dusty rock, we spot something. It looks like a castle. It is a castle, and it's huge, with turrets and walls that stretch forever. But it's not real. This is the film capital of Morocco. So many box office hits have been filmed around here. James Bond, Game of Thrones, The Mummy, The Temptation of Christ, Prison Break, and Gladiator. There are sets from Tibet to Persia, and of course Egypt. But filming's not limited to inside the studios. Around this part of Morocco, almost everywhere you look could be a film location. Many Moroccan cities have a modern new town built outside the walls of the old city. And the old city is called the Medina, simply Arabic for city. The Medina can have open spaces or narrow lanes. They sell pretty much everything, although in the tourist areas, souvenirs are never difficult to find. But walking through the lanes, you need to keep your wits about you. You never know what you'll bump into or what's coming next. In the labyrinth of passageways, there are hidden treasures. This is where leather is tanned, but it stinks. So for protection, we stick mint up our noses. But tucked away in the narrow passages, you can find signs for riads. They're traditional Moroccan houses, dark and plain on the outside, but built around a magnificent internal courtyard. It's cool and comfortable. Made famous by the classic film, the city of Casablanca is on Morocco's west coast. The rough sea has people bobbing around all over the place, and children pluck up the courage to take the plunge. Morocco has been a land of extremes, extreme weather, extreme landscape, and this an extremely large mosque. In fact, it's the third largest mosque in the world. And all of this just a few train hops from London.